Hey everybody, welcome back to the IHC Craft Room. I'm so excited for you to be here today. This is live number 16 in the Holiday How-To series. And today we're gonna be making these super easy and totally fun and festive, nostalgic Christmas character candles. So I'm still waiting for my water to boil, but we're going to do a quick run through of all the things and what we're going to be doing today. So first of all, let's talk about the vessels because I'm so happy with the way they turned out. On Monday, during a dot along, we made these vessels and they each have a character. We have Rudolph, so cute. Then we have the Grinch. That turned out so good. I'm so happy with that. Cool, right? And then we have Santa's belt. I'm very happy with the way they turned out. And it was a lot of fun dot painting these. I would definitely do something like this again. If you're interested in watching that dot along, Mary from the future is going to put that in the top corner over here for the replay. Okay, so we're going to use two different types of wax today. We'll be using container soy wax for the main pour of each candle. And we're going to use a tiny, tiny bit of pillar wax to make ourselves a little heart. And that heart is going to go on top of our Grinch candle because, come on. So let me get these out of my way because I have open bags we're going to use. See you guys later. Thanks for hanging out. And we're going to get started measuring everything out. Now, I'm going to be using different liquid dye for each of these candles because I want them to be different colors. So Santa's belt is going to be a red pour candle. The Grinch's face is going to be a green. And Rudolph is going to be a kind of like, I'm aiming for like a really light golden brown. So I'm going to do that by combining brown and yellow. So we'll see how that turns out. I'm really excited about this because I've been planning these for a while and I'm so thrilled with the way they turned out. And I can't wait to see what they look like with the wax in them. It's going to be awesome. Okay, so the other thing is today's fragrance. Because these are, in my opinion, really nostalgic Christmas characters, we're going to be using a fragrance called Holiday Nostalgia. And it is surprisingly beautiful. Listen to these notes. The top note is apple, peach, and wild berries. The mid notes are ripe cranberry, green raspberry vines, and sage leaf. And the base is clove and cedar leaf. I love this fragrance. It is so fresh. I smelled it, oh my God, a while ago. It's been a minute. So I'm really excited to work with this. And I'm going to put this fragrance in all three because they're all nostalgic to me. And we're just going to use a couple of different vessels to divide up the melted wax. So the plan is we're going to go ahead and measure out our wax. Pop it in there once this boils and it's almost there. And then once that's done melting, we'll mix in the fragrance and then divide it between these three. And then we'll add our liquid dye and pour. So we're going to go ahead and follow that. So I'm going to grab myself a pair of gloves. Oh, and we'll be using Stabilo 12 wicks today. And I'm going to use them Wick Stickums to attach them. So we'll do that in a minute. First, let's go ahead and measure out our wax. And in order to do that, we're going to need to know how much wax and fragrance we need. So we're going to do a little bit of maker math. So let me show you my candle maker math today. We're going to be filling 3 9-ounce clear luxe jars. And the total target for each is 9 ounces. So we want to fill it close to the top, but not quite. Enough room for the wick to be left. I'm going to do my standard 10% fragrance load because I like a high fragrance load. And so that means we're going to need a combined total of 687 grams of wax to cover all 3 candles. And that'd be about 229 grams per candle. And then we're going to need 78 grams of fragrance oil, which will work out to about 26 per candle. So that is what we're doing today. So let's get started. I am going to grab my wax bag. So for this main pour, we're going to be using container soy wax. And as I said, I need 687 grams. Which is going to fill this pour pot pretty full. But that's okay. It'll melt real quick. 687, right? Yeah. Okay, you're really bothering me. 687. Let's go. Let's go. Boom. Yippee. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and pop that into the double boiler now that the water is boiling nicely. And I'm going to always keep an eye on that because it doesn't take much for this to get hopping. Once the water gets a little aggressive in boiling, it can make the actual pot pop off. So be careful. But while we have our scale out, let's go ahead and measure out the fragrance oil. I'm going to use a paper towel for that. Just to be careful. So always remember to zero out your scale when you've placed your measuring whatever vessel on here. So like my measuring cup, you need to make sure you're not including the weight of that in your fragrance pour, or else you'll have no fragrance oil in your candles. Oh my God, I'm so excited to smell this. Okay. So what did I say we need? We need 78 grams. Here we go. See if I can do this without spilling any. Oh, so close. Oh, I'm not going to get one, so I'm going to use a pipette to get that one other gram in there. Every other time I haven't done it with a pipette, I've regretted it because I've gone too far over. So this is an easy way. Oh, wait, didn't I say 78? Oh, it is 78. Woohoo! I don't even need this. Wonderful. All right. We're cooking over here. Look at how much the wax has already melted. Can you see? It was up to the top and it's already. Because these are beads, it melts so much faster. Okay, I want to smell this. Oh, yeah, that's so fresh. Ooh, this is going to be so much fun. Yippee! Okay, I'm going to pop this out of here for now. We're going to use it a little bit later to melt some pillar wax to make the hearts. But first, I'm going to wick these candle jars. And I can't do that with my gloves on because the Wick Stickums and my gloves are not a good combo for me. I mean, if you can do it, go ahead with your bad self. But I'm not putting myself through that. So I'm going to be using Stabilo 12 wicks today. They will definitely get to the vessel wall, and hopefully it won't be an aggressive flame. I've been trying to not over wick my candles lately because I realized that I have been over wicking them to date, and I want to like simmer down now and get a little bit closer to the perfect wick. So we're going to be testing Stabilo 12s for this set of candles and this jar combo. So we'll see how that performs for me and if I want to continue with the 12 in the future or drop down to 8s or 10s. Or do I want to jump up to, I don't know what's after the 12. I think it's 14s. It might be 16s. I don't know. That'd be kind of weird. Yeah, that wax is melting quick time. Beautiful. All right, so basically Wick Stickums are just double-sided round stickers. And You don't need to use Wick Stickums. You can use double-sided tape if you have some. You can use a hot glue gun. People often use a little dab of hot glue. You could also just pour a tiny, tiny bit of wax at the bottom of the candle and stick your wick in and let it sit. That would make me freaked out, I have to say. I'd feel like you'd probably end up with a floating wick. But, I mean, give it a shot if you want. But I prefer Wick Stickums because they're super easy. They're not very expensive. And did I mention that they're super easy? Because that's the reason why I love them. Okay. I'm just eyeballing the center here. Are they going to be perfectly in the center? Probably not. It's pretty rare. I try. I really do try to be right at the center, but a lot of times they're not. Close enough is good for me. I don't stress over things like that. As long as the candle does its job, I'm not overly concerned. Is it going to burn well? Am I going to get my melt pool? Do I get scent throw? Does it basically look the way I want it to look? Then I'm pretty jazzed, you know? Okay. Come here, Grinch. Now, there are a lot of tools you can use or buy in order to get right to the center of your vessel correctly. You could make yourself a template, especially if you use the same jars over and over again, which I do, so I really should. But I probably won't. Oh, I laughed so hard that I blew all of those papers away. All right. There's also tools that you can buy. Is that a little off center? There's also tools that you can buy that you slide over the wick like a pencil or like a pen vessel. And it holds the wick more erect so that you can actually attach it without having to worry about it being moving out of your grasp or bending or doing something you don't want it to do. Makes it a lot easier to plant the wicks. I have to buy some. I doubt they'd be very expensive. I have to check on Amazon. I keep saying that and I never do it. Okay, the wax is doing super well. We have a clump still, but it's going to, I'm not even doing anything to it. It's doing it all by itself. So, I mean, that's cool. You do you. All right, so we are wicked and we're ready to party. We've measured out our fragrance oil. And we have a little bit of time before the wax is done melting. So I'm actually going to measure out some wax, some pillar wax, and we're going to quickly make the hearts because I think we have time. So I'm going to do a very small amount of wax because I don't really think to get a couple of hearts, like, seriously, I could probably do 25 grams and have way more than I need. But I'm going to do 50 grams because if I'm not extra, I'm nothing. Just to be clear. There is no reason for me to be this accurate, by the way, because there is no formula happening here. I'm not putting any fragrance oil in. I'm literally going to pop this in my microwave quickly and melt it down. And then once that's melted, we're going to go ahead and drop in some red liquid dye and pour in those hearts. Hopefully directly from the container. But if not, I have pipettes that we can use, which help when you want a little bit more precision. But these are quite large. I think this size would be the right size heart. This one is also possible, but I feel like that's a little too big. I like this size. So we're going to go for those. Boop. And the wax is doing very well. I think we need another 5 minutes or so and it should be done. I should get my gloves back on because it's gonna be time to work with the liquid dye. And you definitely don't want to get liquid dye on your hands or your skin in general because that wouldn't be fun for anybody involved. Right now. It needs a stir. And then we'll go back in for another minute. When I work with anything that is not one of these kinds of handles, like the ones I've been using for putting or melting wax in the microwave like these, I highly recommend you use some heat-resistant gloves like these ones. This was a tip from a viewer quite some time ago, and I thank you in my heart every time. And basically, I picked these up at Michael's for a steal because, 40% off. Never forget to use your coupons, folks. But also, you can get them on Amazon for like $10, and they're totally worth it. It's a great way to save your hands, and you're going to need it because these get toasty, which is not fun. Okay, we need like another 30 seconds, and it's going to be good. It's kind of like we're neck and neck. Which is going to melt faster? I think the one in the microwave. It's not as much wax. So you need to get out of the way. So we're going to go ahead. We need red. So these liquid dyes from Village Craft and Candle are highly concentrated. It actually says on here that for a pound of wax, you should be using 7 to 14 drops. All right. We are Gouda. Nice and melty. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and see if I can get these last two beads to melt. Okay, we're going to go ahead and drop quite a few red drops. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's definitely overkill. There's like 50 grams of wax in here. But I definitely want this heart to be red. Like as bright a red as we can get. Now, keep in mind, in terms of color, when you're talking about soy wax, and we're using soy wax today, you're not going to get like crazy, crazy vibrant colors. You can, but they'll always be a bit muted in comparison to like a wax such as a paraffin wax. Paraffin wax just scream color. But pillar wax, actually, whatever additives that they put in it in order for it to be a more solid type of wax, a harder wax, also makes it hold color really, really well and show color really well. It's a real night and day difference between it and just straight up soy, like this container soy wax. So we'll get a really nice red heart, I think. Now, if you ever want to test the color of your wax, all you need to do is put a little bit on some parchment paper or foil or whatever you're using to cover your surface, and let it dry for a few seconds, and you'll be able to see what color it actually is going to be in the end when it solidifies. So that's a little tip from me to you. Let's go ahead and pour these hearts. Now this is a really deep mold, which means it's going to have a really like thick heart. So I should have thought of that actually and made them a little. One of these I'm going to make more shallow. I'm not going to fill all the way. Okay. But just to know if I like the difference in sizes, I'm also going to make a couple of these since I have the wax. Why not? So 50 grams was way too much. In case anybody was wondering, we already knew that, but still. Here's confirmation. Oh, there's very little left in there. Okay, well, there. I'll just clean it out later when it solidifies. All right, so I'm going to clean these up, this container up quickly, because first of all, I'm going to use it now for, well, probably the red. Oh, you're not smart, Mary. You're cute, though. Put that glove back on, because remember, handle, hot. Caliente handles. I just don't like wearing these gloves. They're kind of uncomfortable. It's like wearing winter gloves. Like, you don't feel very dexterous when you're wearing your winter gloves. Okay. So first of all, I always recommend cleaning your measuring cups as you go so that it's easier for you to clean up in general. But today, all the more in terms of this one, because I need this for the next step when we split up the colors for these. Okay, so you can scoot on out of here. Let's go back. That's why I put them all on parchment paper so that I can move them in the slowest of the slow motions so that I don't jar the hearts too much. Okay, so what we're going to do, the wax is almost done melting. So it'll be time to mix in our fragrance oil. Are you still really hot? You're fine. Okay, so look at this now. You can see that red's beautiful. That's a nice bright red. Mi piace. So I'm happy with that. That's a good way to test. Okay, so in terms of the colors we're going to be using today, the only one that's going to be straight up just one color is Santa's Belt. Like the red is going to just be red. Are you almost done? I see something in my wax, like a little piece of debris at the bottom of my container, which I'm going to fish out. Happens. Sometimes it's like, you know, you open the bag or the box and a little piece might fall in. It's not a big deal. All right. We are ready to party over here. Let me just see. 186. That's good. You want it to be up around 185. That's important because that's where the wax is going to kind of like open itself up enough to take the fragrance oil and bind well. It's a molecular structure kind of thing. So you definitely want to get yourself up to that number. Do I have another? I don't, eh? Okay, here we go. Now, today we're going to be mixing the fragrance oil into the wax because we're using the same fragrance oil for all three candles. But even if we weren't, I would still mix in the fragrance first and color second. And again, that goes back to the molecular structure I was talking about and the opening of the wax to receive the fragrance oil. So this is actually a little cooler than I would like, but I'm still going to do it. Okay, so we want to stir the fragrance for at least 3 minutes to help it bind really well with the melted wax. So it's 10:24. I'm going to stir this until 10:27 after I pause to put this down because I want to clean this up a little bit. Okay. Beautiful. I don't need you anymore, and I don't need you anymore. Toodaloo. Okay, back to stirring. So you have to have a little bit of patience when it comes to stirring. In general, just the fact of stirring for 3 whole minutes, have some patience. But also, you don't want to stir like you're upset about it. You want to be at a moderate pace because we don't want to introduce too much air into the wax. You'll introduce some in the movement, but some is not a lot. So that's what we're trying to avoid, a lot. Okay, bro, I don't need you anymore. Toodaloo. Close you. I'd like to take this off camera, but I don't know where I put all of my pot holders. I just have this one hanging out over here. What did I do with them? All right, now as I'm stirring, I'm just looking around my craft room going, but where are they? Like, for real. I used them yesterday. Oh, well, what are you going to do? Life's hard. So we'll just leave the double boiler there. It'll be fine. No, it's nowhere here. I can't find it. What a bummer. Oh, well. Okay. This fragrance oil is really lovely. Holiday nostalgia. I don't know what I thought when I heard the words holiday nostalgia as a fragrance name. I don't know what I thought it would smell like, but I didn't think it would smell like this. I didn't think it would smell so fruity. I thought it was going to smell a lot more like, I don't know, pine or something that you kind of like say spice, rum, like that kind of like Christmassy cranberry something kind of fragrance. You know what I mean? I mean, there is some cranberry in here. You do smell it. But the apple and the peach and the wild berries of the top notes, you definitely get some of that. You definitely get a little bit of the clove as well from the base, but I'm interested to see what it smells like throughout the entirety of its lifespan in a candle. Because that's to me, one of the fun things about fragrance is that it smells different throughout the life cycle of the candle. Right now, out of the jar, out of the bottle, it smells a certain way, very crisp and sweet and fruity and lovely. Once it gets poured and it cures and it mixes with the wax, and then it uses the wick, it's going to definitely alter the scent profile in that throw. And then when you blow out the candle, you're going to get another scent profile with that base note really dominating. It's really cool, the lifespan of a fragrance. At least I think so. What do you guys think? Let me know in the chat. Or if you're watching this in the replay, let me know in the comments below. Awesome. So I'm actually going to be doing something really cool tomorrow. Tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'm going to be doing a out of nowhere, this is going to be fun, pop-up kind of live. And we're going to be making some holiday-themed wax melts. And I'm going to show you how you can package them up and give them away as gifts to your friends and family. A really fun project. I always enjoy making seasonally shaped melts. It's always a good time. So join me tomorrow, Sunday, at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is like not a common part of my live schedule, but I really wanted to do this. So it's going to be a fun little impromptu surprise live. Surprise! So yeah, join me tomorrow if you're interested in seeing that. All right, I think we have stirred for, it's now 10:29, which I'm pretty sure is when I said I was going to be done. So now what we need to do is measure out this wax into the containers so that we can start adding color. So I'm going to grab my trusty scale. Yeah, I don't know why I'm doing that. I need this here. Dummy. Okay. And we need to pour into this vessel 255 grams because that'll split it 255 through all three of these. So 255 for you. Hopefully I can be accurate. Oh, so close, Mary. Ah, too much, see? Should always, I need that, hold on. Oh, I can't do that. Crap. Okay. I'm going to just grab my pipette because I need that 5 back. I need it for the other ones. I want them to be as even as possible. Oh, I took too much. Okay. That sounds gross. Okay, you scat. Scram. All right. Look at me finally using my noggin. Brava Maria. Okay, here we go. 255 for this one too. Damn it. Close, but not close enough. I'm going to take a little bit out of that too. Those 3 grams are going to bug me. Oh, shoot. I just totally shot some wax on the... Well, this is why we have all of these paper towels and things around so that when I cause a disaster, which I always do, I don't have to live with it permanently on my furniture. Okay. All right. We are equal all the way around. 255 for all of these. So now I'm going to go ahead and mix in the color into each one, and then we're going to pour our candles. So we'll start with red because it'll be the easiest. And I'm pretty sure I used this one for red earlier. So red. I'm going to use, like I said, it tells you 7 to 14 drops over here. I'm definitely going to use at least 7 because I want this to be a really vibrant red. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We'll give it a stir and have a look. I'm still going to close this because this is some tremendously strong stuff. I don't want to accidentally knock it over. Okay, we're going to test this. You know what? I want to move that burner out of my way. It's bothering me a little bit. Now, in terms of color, you don't need to mix it for as long as you do fragrance. Fragrance, you want to stir for 2 to 3 minutes, and I always stir for 3 because I'm extra. But color, half an hour. 30 seconds is more than enough. Half an hour is overkill, and your candle will be mostly solidified by then. Okay. I'm going to drop a little bit on my parchment paper. Oh, that looks, I can already tell that's a good red. So I'm happy with that. I'm going to go ahead and pour this because I feel like I've stirred it enough and I'm happy with the red I saw, even if it's not solidified. Remember, it's going to solidify a little darker. Okay, you scram. We don't want to accidentally pour the wrong color into the wrong vessel. So Santa's belt gets red. Here we go. This is going to look so cool. I've seen this done before, but not with dot painted This is going to be a little too full for my taste, so I think I'm going to stop. So I kind of overshot my math a little bit, it looks like, because I have a little bit left over. Let's make a like completely weird heart. That's going to be fun. It'll be like multicolored. Okay. Clean this out real quick because I don't want to have to use my heat gun later to clean it. If you get yourself into this habit, it'll make your life significantly easier. All right. I don't need you anymore. Apologies. So that looks great. Next, we're going to go ahead and do the Grinch. So we're going to do green. I am going to do equal parts green and yellow. And then I might add a little bit of green on top. We'll see. So we're going to start with 4 drops of green. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, my red wax has solidified over here. I don't know if you can see it. And that's a beautiful red. I'm very happy with that. So I'm pleased with the color. Not that it matters anymore. I already poured it, but whatever. Okay, so that's 4 green. And now we're going to do 4 yellow. 2, 3, 4. That's because I want like, not lime green, but I don't really want that dark green. You know what I mean? You want that lighter, almost leaning towards lime green. At least that's what I picture in my head when I think of the Grinch. Now, I increased the amount of wax for each of these vessels because my dot paintings have gone quite high on the sides of the jar. In future, I don't think I would do that again. I think the next time I would make my dot painting a little bit smaller so that it would be a little lower on the vessel. But to counter that today, we're just going to pour a little higher than we really should. But I'm going to anyway. Especially for this one, because now that heart is going to stick up right over the top, which is fine. Whatever. Who cares? It's not a big deal. I can always stop pouring at any point if I'm concerned that I don't have enough room for the heart. But don't forget, I did make one of the hearts more shallow. So I'm glad I did that now. See? Brava, Maria. All right, let's see what color we got going on over here. Oh, 2 drops. I actually like that color. I might put 1 more drop of green. It's leaning a little yellow to me. So we'll do 1 more drop of green. Okay. Ciao, ciao. We'll give this a quick stir and we're going to pour it. It's already solidifying. I have like a little bit of like a skin around the edges of the thing. And when I lift my stir stick, I'm sure I'm going to have wax on the bottom. A tiny bit. Just a little. But that's okay. I kind of expect that when you're working with wax for as long as I've been working with it now. If you're going to like mix in your fragrance and a quick color and pour right away, you're not going to have this happen. But when you're taking this much time between each of them because you can't shut your pie hole, plus you also have to do all the things. All right, here we go, Grinch. Are you ready? I think that's going to be a great green. I just want to get to the top of his eyebrows, which is right about there. A little bit more. Un poquito más. Okay. All right. I think that's good. Let's add this to the crazy heart. Oh, this is way too much wax. My math was off. You know what? I am going to fill this up a little bit more. I'm just concerned about the heart. Okay. Oh, well. This is the thing about candle making. There's no denying that there is science involved. There's math involved. And, you know, sometimes I get it right. Sometimes I don't. It's not a big deal. A little bit of extra wax never hurt anybody. This is actually something that I often have in sitting beside me when I'm candle making is random silicone molds, and I will pour into them if I have too much and need to get rid of it. It's not a big deal. Make yourself some melts. It'll be lovely. Okay, for our friend Rudolph, we're going to be doing like a golden brown is my plan. So I'm going to be using brown and yellow to make that happen, but I'm not going to use much brown. I want the yellow to kind of dominate. So what we're going to do is I think I'm going to do 2 drops of brown. 1, 2. And then we'll do 4 drops of yellow. Look at that. Look at that. Wow. Don't mess around, brown. I'm glad I only did 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. Doesn't that look cool? It's because the wax is kind of on the warm side, I think. So it's kind of hanging there a bit more than it might have if it was warmer. Okay, we're going to give this a really good stir. And then I'm going to drop a little bit on here. This is that pillar wax from before. Then we're going to put our wick centering tools on so that these wicks don't solidify like this, because that would be no bueno. Then it really wouldn't matter if you had planted it to the center of the base or not. If it was going to tip over, like, I don't even know what that would do to a candle. How would you even light that? You'd probably make the side of your vessel explode. It's very dramatic, Mary. Okay. I feel like that's mixed enough that I can have a good sense of what this is going to look like. How do I feel about that? I like it. It's like a golden brown. I'm debating if I want to put 1 more drop of brown in there. I think I might. I don't want it to be yellow, but I want it to be golden brown. You know what I mean? Boop. Just 1. Let's see. I'm just trying to really get it around the edge of the thing, because as soon as you start stirring, the dye goes immediately to the walls. Okay, let's see. Yeah, I like that better. I'm okay with that. I think that's going to look nice. So let's go ahead and pour. What a rich color. Oh, that's going to look cool. Now, again, the antlers, I dotted them really close to the top. So I'm hoping I can get most of them, but I won't. Okay, I have to stop. I don't want to go any higher than that. Green and brown heart. That's probably going to be gross. All right. Alrighty, Roo. We are going to now put the wick centering tools on, and then we're going to complete these candles. Not these candles. I actually pre-made some candles for this purpose so that we can finish all of the things together. I spilled some wax on my tabletop. That's okay. That's okay. Okay, I don't think I need my gloves right now. Let's get you guys out of here. Goodbye and salutations. All right. So I'm going to put some wick centering tools on these guys. That looks good. This Grinch candle's already solidifying. It's cold where I am. I'm in my basement, and my basement is chilly. And that matters, by the way. Anytime you see a completed candle of mine, because I'm always letting them cure in a cold room, and I'm not really doing anything to combat what that means, it's going to be 100% noticeable in my finished product. And that means it's going to be things like a little bit more noticeable frosting, because frosting is a common thing in soy wax candles. So it's not like it can be avoided to some degree, but it's not totally avoidable. It is a common thing. It's a known reaction of soy wax, but it's also the temperature really matters. It really does. All right, so I made these guys. Ew. Yippee. So I'm going to show you. First, let me take their little hats off. I'm going to show you why the temperature matters. Not only from the frosting, but in a big way, the wet spots and the cracks and the sinkholes are definitely impacted by the ambient temperature of your room. If the room is cold and the vessels are cold or the wax is hot, all of that together, they fight. I did nothing to warm up my vessels before I poured my candles. You saw me. They are sitting here room temperature, and room temperature in this room is cold. So yeah, there's going to definitely be a combination of factors that affect the appearance of the candle because of the temperature. So always keep that in mind when you're pouring your own candles. There's a lot of ways you can mitigate that. But can we talk about this for a second? Like, how cute did these turn out? I'm so thrilled. They're so cute. What do you think? I'm so pumped with the way they turned out. Like I said, I've seen this idea before, but I've always seen it done using like, what's it called? Cricut stuff. Like they printed out, and I can't think of the word, vinyl. God, that took a minute. They print it out in vinyl and stick it on like a sticker, and it looks super cute. But I've never seen it dot painted before, and I thought it would be so fun. And it turned out so great. I'm so happy with them. But like I said, I poured these a little short. As you can see, they're much lower than the ones we poured today. I mean, you can't see where this is poured to, but I've only left a tiny sliver of room at the top of these candles that we just poured. And that's because I didn't like how low these ones ended up. I would have liked at least another 1/4 inch on especially these two. But since the Santa dotting is lower, you don't really notice it as much. But even this one would have been nice to be just a wee bit higher. So I tweaked my recipe in order to increase the amount, which is why these ones actually overflowed a little bit. So this is just part of the trial and error of figuring out your maker math. And I didn't quite hit the sweet spot today, but I don't care because look how cute these are. So now that we've had a moment to enjoy the actual aesthetic that we were going for, our nostalgic characters of Christmas, let's go ahead and make these candles work and be functional, and we're going to light them. So I'm going to go ahead and cut these wicks down, and then we're going to look at the tops. We're going to fix them a little bit, and then we're going to burn them. So it begs the question, why do we need to fix them if we're going to burn them? We don't, but it'll be nice. It'll be fun. So I'm going to cut my wicks to about 1/4 inch from the top of the wax. That is your best practice when you are lighting a candle. If possible, and you can pre-trim if you're giving them away to people or selling your candles, it'd be a nice value add. Lots of people, when they're selling their candles, they actually leave a longer wick, or they'll like do a curved, like little cute thing with their wicks, which doesn't look this horrible. They use like a pencil. But I like to cut it down so that it's easy to light and work with. Okay, this one in particular has a lot of frosting on the top. It's so rough and bumpy. I'm actually quite surprised at how bad the top of this candle is. And the reason I'm saying that is because container soy wax really does have a reliable finish. The wax is specifically engineered to stick cleanly to the jar walls, which means you're going to get minimal wet spots, which, yeah, I don't have any wet spots, which is a shocker. To be clear, it's a huge shocker. But the top not being smooth is kind of surprising because it's a one and done kind of pour wax, and it should give you a smooth, creamy top with just like a single kind of pour. But I'm not planning to pour again or to fix anything, cracks or sinkholes. The only way I fix my tops is using a heat gun, which we're going to do in a second. But let's have a look at these two. This one came out really, really good. I don't see any cracks except for right around the wick itself. You can see a little bit of lifting of the wax. So there's basically a bubble right up against the wick. That's what's causing that. It's not a big deal. It's just an aesthetic thing. It in no way is going to impact the way the candle performs. And same with this, by the way. This doesn't mean the candle isn't going to perform well. It just doesn't look as pretty. And I mean, when it looks so pretty on the outside, I definitely want the top to look good too. So we're going to fix it. Now, again, I don't have any wet spots on this candle, which if you've seen my last few candle projects, which have been a lot of fun, I've used different waxes, not container, and I definitely got wet spots for sure. Last week, I made a spa candle gift set, which was beautiful. And I highly recommend watching it. So if you're watching this in the replay, you can catch it up here in the corner because Mary from the future is going to put it there. But if you're watching live right now, first of all, hello and welcome. And secondly, you can definitely find this tutorial on my lives and my channel in general. So I was really, really thrilled with the way it turned out, but I had a lot of wet spots last week. And that's because I used a different wax. This container wax is giving me no wet spots at all. And again, because it's designed to adhere to the container walls. Now, this green top has a little bit of cracking, a tiny bit. And again, around that wick, I'm seeing a little bit of an elevated bit of wax, which means I think I have a bubble just underneath or against the wick. But not bad at all. And again, no wet spots. And the frosting is really, really minimal here. Like really minimal. So these turned out really, really great. How cute does this look? Now, this guy, I'm definitely going to melt the top of regardless of cracks or no cracks because I'm going to put one of these little red hearts on top because, you know, the Grinch and the heart. C'est importante. Okay, so let's get started with that. I'm going to grab my heat gun, and my apologies for how loud this is going to sound, but what are you going to do? Such is life. Here we go. Oh my God, that smells so good. Yes. All right, I want to melt a full layer across the top of this one because it really was not in good shape. I'm going to let it solidify, and then we'll come back and see if we need to do a little bit more. But so far, it's looking beautiful. And I don't know if you could hear me over this, but man, does this smell amazing. Oh, this guy ran away. Oh, well. Oh, I'm so excited to light this candle. They smell so good. I'm really happy with this color too. I can't remember. The thing is, when I made these, I never wrote down how many drops of each I did. So I was guessing again today. But it's turned out pretty close, it looks like. I don't know about this one yet, but these ones are so close. So I'm super jazzed about that. All right, dude, let's see. Now, actually, before I do this one, I'm going to demold my hearts because I want to put one of the hearts. Oh, God, look how cute that is. Beautiful. Oh, wait. There's some runaway wax. Oh, I don't know if you saw that. It just shot up in the air. Okay, I also have the bigger one, and this one I half poured. I didn't think to do it on the small ones. Got some circles there. That's funny. Okay. I feel like this is too big. Yeah. This is definitely the right size. Oh, so cute. Okay, you guys scram. Thank you for hanging out. Appreciate you. Don't forget to write. Okay, here we go. Okay, I'm going to put this heart in. I think right here. Yeah, this heart's way too big. Like, it's way too big. This size is going to be good, but it hasn't solidified enough for me to use it. So I don't mind when I make that one after, it's going to be perfect. This is like really thick. It's this thick. So it's a bit much. The last time, I think I'm going to pour it half next time, but I don't care. It looks so cute. We're going to let that solidify a little bit. This came out really good. It's nice and smooth. The only thing I see is a tiny little bubble right there. So let's get that guy out of here. There you go. Toodaloo. And same here. And that's an easy way for you to fix the tops of your candles if they don't come out beautiful and smooth after the first pour, which oftentimes they won't. I mean, not for me, especially, again, like I said, if you're dealing with different temperatures from the ambient temperature versus the wax that you're pouring. So while we're waiting for these to solidify a little bit, because I want to do a final look at them before I light them, let's talk a little bit about what you can do to mitigate the temperature variance that we've been talking about. So as I said, my basement's quite cold. So what could I do to keep the heat a little bit more trapped in my candles? I have 3 tips that I would do, and they are things that I have done in the past. Number 1 is you want to heat your vessel before you pour your wax in. You don't want the vessel to be freezing cold. You want it to be somewhat warm. So just using the heat gun like I had it earlier and just heating the outside a little bit on the inside, warming up that glass a little bit, that's going to take you a lot further than you'd think. And then you're going to pour in your hot wax. After that, another option is to wrap a piece of aluminum foil around the outside of your candle to trap that heat in. And then you can have them inside of, for example, a cardboard box. Let's say you got yourself a nice big cardboard box and you poured your candles in it. You put your aluminum foil around it, and then they're in the box. And on top of that, you're going to place maybe another piece of aluminum foil. That's going to make a really enclosed, warm space for the candles to cure together. You don't want them sitting too close to each other because that can impact a lot of things, including the overall color of your finished product. But these are some tips you can try, things you can test if you're having issues with ambient temperature versus the temperature of your wax when you're pouring. And you can see by me heating the tops of these candles, they are significantly smoother. However, I got a lot of frosting now out of this candle as well as this one. Again, not something to be concerned about. Frosting is just aesthetic, and it is very, very common in soy wax. So I'm not worried about it. It doesn't bother me. I'm not going to change it. I'm happy with it. So, but again, you could try to heat it one more time and see if that would get rid of the frosting. I kind of think it wouldn't, considering. But now that these are somewhat solidified, let's have a quick look one more time before we light them. That turned out really great. So cute and a lot of fun to make. You could definitely also do the other side if you want to, but that would take more time and I didn't have patience. So one side is good for me. Then we've got our friend Rudolph. The red-nosed reindeer. I'm happy with the color of this one. It turned out nice. You can still see the contrast of the ears. I didn't want to go too dark, and it was really easy to lean into the chocolate. So I was aiming for that golden brown mocha kind of color, and I think we really nailed it here. I would have liked to have it up over the antlers, like I said. So in future, if I were to do this project again, I'm actually going to shrink his face a little bit so that the antlers sit a little bit lower and he'd be more centered within the candle itself. But I don't really care because it looks so, so cute. I'm so thrilled with the way this turned out. And lastly, we have our friend the Grinch, and I'm sure the heart is set now. So here he is. This one turned out so cute. Now, this heart is massive. The biggest heart in all the land for our friend the Grinch. But like I said, in future, I would recommend doing it half this size or getting a mold that isn't quite as deep as this one. I have a half one curing over here. In like an hour, it's going to be ready to put on top of that candle. But for now, we have these ones that I made earlier this week after I finished dot painting the jars. What do you think? So cute, right? Ugh, I'm so happy with them. All right, let's light these guys up because I always like to take you through the entire lifespan of the candle. We made them from scratch. We dressed them up pretty, and now we're going to light them on fire. So let's go. Now, there is a possibility that my big red heart is going to drown this wick because I didn't cut the wick high enough to accommodate for that. So we're going to see how our friend the Grinch does. It could be not a big deal. It's not a huge, huge heart. So the added wax might not be a big problem. But one thing is for sure, the top of that candle is never going to look that green again. All right. So we have made ourselves a trio of nostalgic Christmas characters. I really enjoyed this project. I enjoyed the fact that I was able to combine dot painting with candle making, which are two of my passions and that I really, really enjoy doing. I'm so thrilled with the way they turned out. Both of these projects, both the candle making and the dot painting on the jars, are very beginner friendly. And I hope you give it a shot if you're interested in making something like this. These are so fun to have as decor pieces in your own home, or even to gift one of these or all of these to somebody. I think it'd be so cute. You pop one of these candles into like a little gift bag with some tissue paper and maybe some candy canes, and you know, what a cute little gift. Or you can wrap them up in cellophane so that you're not hiding the outside of the jar and all the beautiful dot painting work that you did on it. I'm just so thrilled with the way these turned out. I normally will burn a candle for at least 3 hours on the first burn, and I highly recommend that you do the same. You don't want to exceed 4 hours, but 2 to 3 hours is a really nice range to be in. I always target 3. And part of the reason for that is you want to make sure that you get a full melted top layer on your first burn. It's good for your candle. It'll also set the tone on how this candle is going to burn in the future. Is it going to tunnel or not? And that really is going to be dictated by the first burn. If I were to blow these candles out in like 20 minutes, they'd have like a toonie sized, you know, center melt point. And then it's going to be really hard for me to get them out of that cycle. You'd have to keep making sure it burns as much as possible so you don't end up with a tunneling effect. But so I highly recommend when you start a candle for the first time, make sure you give yourself about 3 hours to have that first burn. Look at how cool the heart is melting into the center of the wick. I don't know if you can tell because of how the flame comes across on the camera, but there's literally like a pool of blood around the flame. Oi, oi. Drama from the Grinch. What up? Well, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me this morning. I really had a ton of fun making these cute character themed candles with you. If you're a beginner and you enjoyed this project, be sure to hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. I go live every Saturday candle making. I also go live every Monday dot painting and every Thursday making wreaths. It's a lot of fun. They're normally projects that last anywhere from 45 minutes to 2 to 2.5 hours. And they're really chill. I like to have a really chill time when I craft, and I hope you enjoy either spending some chill time with me or crafting along with me. It's a blast from my perspective. I have a really fun time doing all of these projects. So don't forget, I'm going to be back on Monday night at 7 p.m. EST for the dot along. And this Monday, I'm going to be making some dot painted ornaments on some really cute little wood slices. I think they're like this big or so. They're super cute. I got them from the dollar store, and we're going to dot paint using non-traditional dotting tools, some really cute patterns for Christmas, and any decor you can think of. We're going to find some fun stuff to do for that. So join me on Monday night at 7 p.m. for that. And if you're interested in learning more about, you know, candle making, check out my channel. I have a ton of beginner-friendly videos. If you're not into watching these long-form videos like this and hearing me ramble, I also have a bunch of videos that are like 10 to 15 minutes long that are edited, and there's some voiceovers and stuff, but it's not me rambling like this. So, you know, whichever is your cup of tea, you'll be able to find pretty much anything you want on my channel, and you can learn a lot with me as we continue on the journey of candle making. I had a blast this morning. I hope you did too. So don't forget to subscribe so that we can continue to get crafty together. Toodaloo.